Okay, picture this. You step outside tonight. You look up into the sky and literally nothing. It's just gone. For 4.5 billion years, basically since the early days of our solar system, the moon has been Earth's faithful companion, right? It's kind of our silent guardian. But in this explainer, we're going to jump into a totally terrifying, yet absolutely fascinating thought experiment. What if our closest celestial neighbor just suddenly vanished without a single trace?
The immediate aftermath? Pure, unadulterated shock. On that very first night, the world as we know it changes completely. Without that familiar, comforting glow we're all used to, we'd instantly realize something incredibly catastrophic just went down. Think about the global panic. You'd have scientists at observatories all over the world frantically scrambling, checking and rechecking their instruments, desperately searching for any logical explanation for how a planetary-sized object could just, poof, disappear. And meanwhile, social media would absolutely explode. We're talking wild theories spreading like wildfire, from alien heists to the literal end of the world.
Visually, the loss of natural light would be stunning. Without moonlight washing out the sky, the stars would suddenly pop. They'd become incredibly bright, just piercing through the absolute blackness. But down here on Earth, that darkness would be deeply disorienting. Ancient humans relied heavily on the moon for travel and hunting. And honestly, even today, the sudden, total absence of that light would plunge human and animal navigation into absolute darkness, especially the second you step outside the artificial glow of our modern cities.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the immediate physical effects would hit our oceans first. Today, the moon is the primary engine behind Earth's ocean tides. Its gravitational pull literally drags the water back and forth across the entire globe. If the moon vanished, those roaring oceans would instantly calm down. Now, the tides wouldn't stop entirely, because the sun does also exert a gravitational pull on our water. But to put it into perspective, the sun's tidal force is only about half as strong. So those massive sweeping tides we're used to would suddenly become weak, sluggish ripples. And this sudden calming of the oceans, it triggers a terrifying domino effect. Coastal ecosystems depend entirely on that regular, rhythmic washing in and out of the tides. When the tides weaken that much, those environments are instantly disrupted. Nutrients aren't circulated, waste isn't washed away. The marine species that evolved specifically around these tidal cycles would find their feeding and breeding grounds completely ruined. And hey, this isn't just a problem for the fish. A collapse of this magnitude threatens the entire global marine food supply. We are talking about putting millions of people at risk of sudden starvation.
It gets worse, because nature has spent billions of years adapting to the moon, and our biological rhythms are tied directly to it. Without moonlight, sea turtles completely lose their ability to navigate across beaches. Coral reefs, which uniquely synchronize their massive reproduction events entirely to lunar cycles, would become totally desynchronized. It'd be chaos. Nocturnal hunters lose their massive evolutionary advantage, plunged into a pitch-black environment where predators and prey alike are just completely confused. Even the precise migration routes of countless birds and insects would fail. The biological chaos would just be staggering.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because the catastrophe definitely isn't limited to the oceans and wildlife. We also have to look at planetary mechanics, like what actually happens to the Earth itself without its massive companion. You see, the moon does way more than just pull on our water. It fundamentally alters how our entire planet moves through space.
So the moon essentially acts as a massive, natural planetary brake. Its gravity creates a drag that gradually slows down Earth's spin. Without this gravitational braking system in place, Earth's rotation would slowly begin to speed up. Over millions of years, the planet would just spin faster and faster. So instead of our comfortable 24-hour cycle, future generations might experience days lasting only a few hours. And while that change sounds slow, it would massively alter weather patterns and biological cycles over long periods of time.
And this brilliantly illustrates an absolutely crucial number, 23.5. That number is the exact degree of Earth's current axial tilt. This 23.5 degree tilt is what gives us our consistent, predictable seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. And the only reason we maintain this perfect, life-sustaining angle is because the moon acts as a giant cosmic anchor, stabilizing our tilt as we orbit the sun.
If we lose that stabilizer, the Earth's axis begins to wobble dramatically. Now, actually, scratch that, it wouldn't happen overnight, but over millions of years, the Earth would behave exactly like a spinning top that's losing its momentum, just swinging wildly. The tilt could shift to extreme angles, pointing directly at the sun for incredibly long stretches and then leaning far, far away into deep, frigid space.
So the crucial point is the devastating contrast between our world now and a moonless Earth. Right now, we enjoy relatively stable seasons, but on a wobbling, moonless Earth, we'd see chaotic climate extremes. We're talking unbearable heat in some regions, while others get plunged into permanent ice ages. Lush, tropical forests could rapidly turn into desolate deserts, and currently fertile lands might become completely frozen wastelands. It would become a wildly unpredictable planet where simply surviving would be a constant, punishing battle.
When we step back and look at the massive scale of this disaster over time, the timeline is genuinely terrifying. Day 1 brings global panic, true darkness, and the abrupt end of lunar tides. Fast forward over the following years, and we witness the devastating collapse of marine ecosystems and massive confusion for animals that rely on lunar rhythms. Then, over millions of years, the whole thing escalates into an extreme planetary wobble and sheer climate chaos. It starts as a dark night, but it relentlessly evolves into an existential threat to all life on Earth.
Now, with all this physical chaos, you might naturally be wondering, wait, would Earth actually be pulled out of its orbit entirely? It's a super common misconception that the moon keeps us locked in our path around the sun. But fortunately, that's not the case at all. The sun's massive gravity controls our orbit. So even without the moon, our planet would continue traveling around the sun almost exactly as it does today. The rock we call Earth would survive the whole ordeal, even if the life on it was fighting just to hang on.
On a slightly more poetic note, we'd also lose one of the absolute most beautiful phenomena in nature. Because the moon and the sun currently appear almost exactly the same size from our perspective here on Earth, we're treated to the magic of total solar eclipses. If the moon vanished, that delicate cosmic alignment would be broken permanently. Total solar eclipses would vanish forever, which means future generations would simply never get to witness one of the most breathtaking sights the universe has to offer. Which brings us to the ultimate question. Can humanity actually survive this? If the natural world is collapsing, the tides are vanishing, and the climate is slowly marching toward total chaos, what happens to us? Well, it would undoubtedly be the ultimate test of human adaptability. We are remarkably resilient creatures, no doubt about it, but this would push our modern civilization to the absolute brink as we attempt to face a collapsing biological world.
We'd have to rely heavily on our technology to compensate for a broken planet. I mean, we do have widespread artificial lighting to combat the pitch-black nights. We could utilize advanced agriculture and large-scale climate control systems to try and artificially replicate the conditions we need to grow food. But even with all our technological marvels, we couldn't easily stop the environmental disasters. Humanity would face unprecedented migration crises as coastal regions suffer and weather patterns shift drastically, leading to massive, persistent food shortages. We might survive, but it would be a relentless, grueling struggle.
Which brings us to the profound realization at the heart of this explainer. We so often take that glowing orb in the night sky entirely for granted, but the moon is literally one of the foundational reasons life on Earth has remained stable long enough for our civilization to flourish in the first place. As this quote beautifully captures, every time we look up at the moon, we are really looking at Earth's oldest friend, our silent guardian in the darkness. It's a humbling thought, isn't it? Just how much of our world relies on that silent, distant rock. And honestly, it leaves you wondering, what other hidden connections in our universe are quietly keeping us alive right now?